My name is Rusty Gaston. I am the CEO of Sony Music Publishing Nashville. Today we are back interviewing songwriting icon Tom Douglas. Tom has had multiple #1 radio hits. He has won 16 BMI award-winning songs. His hits include Little Rock for Colin Ray, Grown Men Don't Cry for Tim McGraw, and I Run to You for Lady A, along with many, many more. In this episode, we will talk to Tom about the journey it took for the world to finally hear his hit, The House That Built Me. Tom, thanks for being here today. Let's talk some about The House That Built Me. I believe it's hard to overstate the impact that this song has had on listeners, not just in country music, but beyond, and anyone who has ever heard the song. That song had such a journey that was not easy. Will you tell us about the countless rewrites and years and hope that may have just vanished in front of you that finally ended up turning into what we all know as The House That Built Me?
Alan Shamblin and his family and my family were invited to go to Sundance, Utah to do a writer's round via the famed Bluebird Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
I was having breakfast by myself early one morning, and Alan came in. He sat down. He's very soft-spoken. He's very humble, and he said, I've been thinking about houses, but what if we wrote a song not about the houses that we build, but the house that built me? And literally, as soon as Alan said that, I was levitating. I thought, I knew at that moment, that's one of the greatest, The House That Built Me. That's 5 of the greatest words put together in that order I've ever heard in my life. I knew that.
Wow. Yeah.
Alan and I talked about it, and I remember saying, Alan, do not utter those 5 words to anybody else until we get back to Nashville.
Yeah.
We got back, and he'd written 4 verses. I'd written 3. We put a first draft together. We demoed it. It was like 10 minutes long. It was epic.
Yeah.
Turned it in the publisher. Their response was cool, which in Nashville is code speak for we will never, ever listen to that song again.
Nothing's going to happen with this.
Nothing's going to happen with that. And publishers, I will say this for the crowd, publishers do say that with a smile on their face while they're cutting your heart out with a butter knife from the back. Crushed but undaunted, over the next 7 years, Alan and I would get together, write other songs. We'd talk about The House That Built Me. And it's one of those ideas that really does haunt you. So this is like 7 years later. I remember I listened to the song again. I called Alan that afternoon. I said, we need to just take a new, fresh look at the song, the lyric, The House That Built Me. And Alan said, when? I said, tomorrow. He said, see ya. Gets there at 9. We had lots of lyrics. We printed them out, put them on my coffee table, and we actually had too much information. We had to get rid of a lot of stuff. Had to get rid of about 7 minutes worth of stuff. And kind of once it came together, it was pretty magic. And so I remember at the end of the day, I think Alan said, it's really good. I think we're still missing something. We're still missing something. And he said, Alan, I remember saying, I think the song is going to be creepy if a man is singing this and a man shows up at the door and an old lady answers and he said, hey, can I come in?
Right.
He said, I think that's going to be, there's just something wrong with that.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that, but Alan felt strongly. And then I remember, Alan does say this, so it's not like I'm taking credit for it, but I remember magically I said, all right, well, what about if I can just come in, I swear I'll leave. I won't take nothing but a memory.
Wow.
That all of a sudden, the song came together. And the other miraculous aspect of it, when we did demo it, and I remember Terry Wakefield, we turned it in, and it was put on hold by 12 people the same day.
This was the 6th or 7th incarnation of the song.
Yes, right. I never thought about a woman singing it ever. And so, we pitched it to Scott Hendricks. Scott Hendricks put it on hold for Blake
Shelton.
Blake Shelton. He sends the CD to Blake Shelton, who's coming in off the road on a windswept Sunday night.
Right.
And what I'm telling you is not true, but it's so good
Yeah.
that you're going to enjoy this. It's a windswept Sunday night. He's coming in off tour. He gets in his 1978 Silverado that's waiting for him in the airport. He's beat, he's exhausted. He's got an hour to drive to his ranch. His girlfriend's sitting on the seat next to him. To keep himself awake, he puts in the CD in the CD player. Third song in, it's playing. His girlfriend starts weeping in the shotgun seat. And he says, "What is wrong with you?" And she said, "That is my story." And Blake Shelton said, "If that's your story, that's your song."
Wow.
That's how the song got to Miranda Lambert.
Yeah. That is incredible. Filled with hope.
Filled with hope.
I love that.
All we got to do, honestly, is show up.
Yeah.
God does the rest.
That's right.
Anything significant I've had has been honestly completely outside of the realm of my doing.
You've heard me say it before. I believe songs do all the work. And in that story alone is like, yes, the songs, they find their way.
Yeah.
And that one found their way to the right artist, and it wasn't even pitched to Miranda Lambert. And then it went on to win Song of the Year. It won Miranda Lambert a Grammy Award, was a massive hit that's defined her career and so much of your songwriting career. What a fantastic journey.
A kind of a humorous anecdote. So after the Grammys that year, so the House Bentley was up for Song of the Year in the big category. It was up
all
for
genres.
All genres. It was up for Country Song of the Year, and it was up for
Country Performance.
And so it lost all those. Miranda did win, but it lost the other. And I Need You Now, which is a great song, won. And so we were going out to dinner after the Grammys, and Troy Tomlinson, who was running Sony at the time, was going to meet us for dinner. And then he got lost, and for whatever reason, and couldn't find the restaurant, even though he had picked the restaurant. My family and I were there, and Troy comes in. He says, "Gosh, I'm so sorry. We got lost." And my son Tommy, who was 15 at the time, he said, "Troy, you may have gotten lost, but my dad just lost his wallet and 2 Grammys tonight. So I think you're even." I lost my wallet.
Yeah, that night you did?
That night. I was like a madman searching garbage cans in the Staples Center, going back everywhere in the bathroom, only to find it slipped out of my pocket. It was in the seat below me. But
isn't that just the yin and yang in life of here you are at the Grammys, the height of achievement for music people, and the attack of you've lost your wallet and the anxiety that brings on you, and then you're distracted the entire day.
Yes. Maybe
that softened the blow of losing a Grammy because you're so concerned about not having your driver's license.
Oh, and I remember so uptight and anxious with my children. Do not lose your driver's licenses, whatever you do. We have to get on this plane tomorrow. I was a complete tyrant.
Right. Whew. Looking back on that winding path of your career from when you left Nashville to Little Rock to the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, what advice would you give someone that's in that pause of their career before the success?
I think writing is seasonal. I don't think it's not 12 months, 365, 24/7. If you're in a pause, there's a difference between a groove and a rut. So if you're in a pause, it doesn't mean that it's over. It just means it's a pause. So maybe things are dormant. I would just think about finding different ways to recharge yourself. Maybe use that time for reading. I just don't think there's any substitute for reading, going back to your high school English reading list and continue. Lyrically, that has helped me more than anything. Just read.
In today's world, what are you dreaming about creating next?
Well, I am very interested in screenplays. I'm interested in miniseries. I'm interested in taking songs and seeing how they can be revealed in other art forms, whether it could be art, paintings, these, performances, movies, TVs, Hallmark cards. I mean, songs really are, there could be a springboard for almost anything in the media. Very, very exciting times. The advent for where songs can go and the barriers of distribution of almost everything have been eliminated.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's another really powerful song that you wrote called I Run to You that was recorded by Lady A. That song went on to take home an CMA award for Single of the Year. What can you tell us about the creation of I Run to You and that experience, but that idea? Where did that come from?
I was set up to write with Lady A, who was the next big thing when they first came on the scene. And when you get set up to write with the next big thing, you really, you want to have some ideas. I mean, as alleged professionals, if we're going to write with an artist, they're out there doing who knows what, trying to, make careers and become carriers for our songs. So the least we can do is show up with a couple of good ideas. And so as time drew near to write with them, I literally had, I think, just, kind of an overall panic attack. I just had amnesia. I literally, I couldn't rhyme blue with shoe.
You thought the curtain was going to be pulled back and it was going to be revealed.
It was I'm waiting every day for the curtain to be pulled back, to be revealed that I really have no idea what I'm doing. This is probably a good place to do it. Let's just go ahead and say that now. Right. I literally have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah. And I was running in the Nashville Marathon the weekend before the next big thing. They were coming on Monday. And I saw a number of people. I saw a guy in a yellow chicken suit. I saw a group of women in matching purple tutus. Everybody was having a great time, but me, I was miserable. 26.2 miserable miles. I saw a guy with a T-shirt halfway through. I run this town. And I was thinking of metaphors and similes and analogies, and I was thinking how miserable it is, and I was like, why am I doing this? And I was thinking, what does that mean, I run this town? I was trying to distract myself. Well, I run this town like a mayor, from point A to point B like a jogger. Followed him for 5 miles. Hated the guy, hated myself, hated running, hated songwriting. Monday morning shows up, the Fresh Face Trio, the next big thing. They come in. They look amazing. They're all young and tall and handsome and beautiful. And they pull up 3 chairs and they all smell great with like cologne and perfume. And Hillary's like a movie star. Beautiful. And I was feeling worse and worse with like each moment that they were there. And they were like, okay, well, what do you got? And I'm like, I have nothing. I wanted to say that. Yeah. And I really don't know why, because I'm not a very confident person. I walked around to my upright piano that I've had since 3rd grade. I put my hands on the ivories and I said, all I could think of was the guy in his T-shirt. I run. I run from hate. I run from prejudice, and I run from pessimist. And I remember I was like playing a Bryan Adams song. That was the music. I was like, they're going to leave and this is going to be embarrassing, but I guess it's not the worst thing that's ever happened. Yeah. I opened up my eyes and they were like, you would have thought that I just read something out of To Kill a Mockingbird. Right. It was that profound. Yeah. I was like, they said, that's incredible. You're a genius. And I said, oh, shucks. I've been saving this for you all for 6 months now.
And the rest is history.
They were gracious. And it was like, it is very kind of philosophical, but when they put their voices on it, it just kind of works.
So recently you've created a Substack called Short Stories. You've taken your storytelling to the stage with a Broadway show. You've even held a residency at Eric Church's Chief's Honky Tonk down on Broadway in Nashville. How do each of these mediums really feed a different part of your creativity?
Well, the foundation of all of them really are the songs. It starts with the songs, and the songs kind of, if you let them, they'll reveal themselves into all these different tributaries. But the Substack is really been enjoyable because it's a great outlet for all kinds of content. They kind of aggregate video and scripts and novels and almost anything. So it's just each week I release kind of a different chapter of one of the many things that I've written. And I've got about 500 people a week that read along with me, and it's fun. You get a little feedback, and it's just enjoyable. So
tell us, where do we find that?
You just go to Tom Douglas Songwriter on Substack.
Awesome. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
And thank you for listening to Thank a Songwriter, where we honor the songwriters who have written songs that have impacted our lives. Be sure to follow us at Sony Music Pub Nashville. Send us your thank you notes, and the next time you listen to a song that impacts your life, be sure to thank a songwriter.